With all this talk of Apple's iPhone 10 that is yet to be released to the public, I kind of want to revisit if the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus are worth your hard-earned cash. I've been using the iPhone 7 Plus exclusively for the past year as my daily driver, with some breaks in between here and there as I've tested some Android devices. And I will say right off the bat, before we even get into this video, I think these two devices, the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus, are absolutely worth your money, especially considering the new price point. Now, with that said, let's go ahead and talk about some reasoning behind why I think these devices are worth your money. First and foremost is performance. Performance of my iPhone 7 Plus has not lagged in the slightest. Now, this iOS experience for me is my first because I've been exclusively Android up until this point. I will say iOS 10, it was a much more polished feeling experience than my jump recently into iOS 11. iOS 11 has quite a few bugs, and it feels like Apple kind of pushed that out without really vetting it and doing a bit more quality assurance. And I think on a company's behalf, the delivery of iOS 11 to the mass market is lackluster at best for Apple. I mean, they have gazillions of dollars and they have a lot of employees, and they even run a beta program. So I don't understand why iOS 11 is so buggy. It should be better. The way iOS 11 performs in comparison to iOS 10, it's completely night and day. And if this was my first experience coming over from Android, I would be a little bit more hesitant than I was when I jumped from Android to iOS 10. Now, the cameras on the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus are some decent cameras. I mean, they do really well in well-lit conditions. They kind of fall apart in low light, but I guess that's to be expected. I really don't have high expectations for low light performance on such tiny sensors of smartphone cameras. But there are lots of devices out there that are just absolutely killing it. But I will say that the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus, they will get you by, and they're gonna get you some really good family pictures. The iPhone 7 Plus has quite a bit better camera system, and I find myself really enjoying some perks that my wife can enjoy on her iPhone 7, like portrait mode and the telephoto zoom, the one-click telephoto zoom. It just really makes my pictures pop when we're out with my family and just taking pictures with the boys and all that type of stuff. My pictures end up being a little bit better because I have that extra sensor. But still, here's my frustration with Apple's default camera application on their iOS devices. I cannot make adjustments to frame rate, resolution, and things like that within the camera app. I have to jump out, go into settings, and make adjustments there. That by far is probably the most frustrating thing about these devices. I really miss camera applications in the Android ecosystem where I can make adjustments directly from the camera when I'm in the camera, when I'm setting up my camera. Why do you do this, Apple? And where is my 24p on the iPhone 7? You gave it to the iPhone 8. I know you can update this camera app to allow this sensor to shoot a lower frame rate, and you just don't do it. That's frustrating to me, and I think that's something that they should fix. Moving right along, and probably the best thing about my jump to iOS and the iPhone 7 Plus is the battery life. It's like a magical experience in which I don't have to worry about charging my device during the day. I really relish and I enjoy that experience to where I am not worrying about where I'm gonna charge my phone up next. Now, it's a different experience with the iPhone 7 because it has a significantly smaller battery, and that was an experience in and of itself that was similar to Android. And so I can't really give raving reviews on the iPhone 7 battery life, but I will say they do have the battery case, which is probably one of the ugliest things that I've ever seen in my life, and it looks like you have a bulge in your pocket when you're walking around. But it will add significant talk time and usage time to your iPhone 7. And as we wrap this video up, I think the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus are still a fantastic value for money, especially with their new price point. Now the price of entry in a premium handset from Apple is set at a lower bar, so you can jump in to a fantastic experience at a lower price point. And your money goes a little further with the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus, because these devices will get updates for the years to come. I will say that I think the jet black and matte black iPhones and their aluminum body structure are just beautiful devices. The iPhone 8 doesn't hold a candle to them. I am absolutely enamored with the way that they look and the way that they feel in the hand. In retrospect, I wish I would have gotten a jet black iPhone 7 Plus, because that thing is just beautiful. And I feel like the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus are a testament to the iterations from the iPhone 6 up until this point. They feel like a polished handset, and with iOS 10, they were truly a fantastic experience. I'm having a little bit more of a difficult time recommending an Apple handset to somebody that is primarily an Android user, because iOS 11 is so damn buggy. If I'm telling somebody that they should jump into a handset that they've never really experienced, the bugginess is just going to deter them, and then my recommendation is kind of negated, and I don't like that. So Apple, if you see this, which you're probably not going to, fix iOS 11 to where it's an actual refined smartphone operating system where people can enjoy using the device that they spend most of their time using, and stop beating around the bush. You guys are bazillionaires and you have a huge staff, and you have a beta program. I don't understand why this is so buggy, and you guys should have really refined this and run it through some quality assurance before deploying it to handsets out there. It's just really unacceptable. In the end, I absolutely hate the forehead and chin on both of these devices, because it's a ton of unused space that I think Apple could have done something more with, or made the actual footprint of these devices smaller. The experience that I have on my iPhone 7 Plus is just it's unmatched by any Android device. I really enjoy not having to worry about having to charge during the day. And that, to me, in and of itself, with compounded with the build quality of this device, is enough for me to recommend the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus still to this date, especially with their lower price of entry. Leave me a comment down below what you think. I know there's some Android folk out there that have strong opinions. I want to hear it. Leave me a comment down below, because I used to be one of you, and I still have an affinity for Android, but iOS has stolen my heart at this point. I know that sounds Apple fanboyish, but it is what it is, and I enjoy my usage of this device. It makes my life easier, and that's really what I'm looking for in a smartphone. Well, that about does it for me in this one. If you like this video, please feel free to give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, you know what to do. Thank you for taking the time to watch. I am Tomas, and I will catch you in the next one.